channel. Today we're going to be talking about 5 easy ways to improve your florals. So we're looking here at this very simple little flower doodle that you would be drawing in your notebook, in your journals, in your planners, or wherever you're doodling. Could even be a napkin, right? And looking at this flower, it looks very childlike, it looks very stagnant, there's not a lot of movement, there's not a lot of detail. It just looks like a doodle. So we want to talk about 5 different ways to improve your florals, to kind of take them to the next level so that they look more detailed, more professional, and more appealing. And so the first way that we're going to do that is with the flower center. And so I'm going to zoom in here because I'm going to show you guys a few different centers that you can easily do on your flower doodles. So I'm going to zoom in manually, so please forgive me for any shakiness or anything like that. All right, so hopefully I'm zoomed in enough. Maybe I'll do it just a little bit more. That way it's super easy to see. All right, so the first type of center that you can do is just gonna be little, here, let me go this way so you can see better, is little circles. Oh, sorry, my pen is losing a little bit of ink. All right, so with these circles, they don't have to be perfect. You can do some smaller ones, some bigger ones, some that look like ovals, right? We don't want it to look symmetrical. Like, you know, we want a circle, but we don't want them to look perfect, because when they look too perfect, then you're back to it feeling stagnant. Another way to, you know, make this a little bit more detailed is to add little tendrils here. Sometimes flower centers have a part of the center that maybe becomes petals or just kind of juts out to add more beauty, right? Super simple and easy. The next one you can do, you're gonna start with what looks like a little finger-like tendril like that. So you know, this ones were circles, this ones are a lot longer. And with these ones, make them go different directions and also make them overlap each other so that they look, you know, imperfect but still beautiful, makes them feel like they're flowing, makes them look alive. So something like that. You can make this even bigger. You know, for a peony center, those centers are usually rather large, so you could continue this pretty much as big as you want, because some flower centers are kind of small and some of them are rather large. So we're gonna stop there for now. The other center that you can do would look kind of like a cherry blossom center, where you have the kind of the stick-like part with the circle on the top, right? And so usually they'll kind of come out from one center, kind of like this. Sorry, this isn't gonna look perfect, but you know, you kind of get the idea. And making sure that they don't all seem to be bending the same way, because then it would just kind of look funny. So anyway, something like that. You know, once you put that in with your center, it's gonna look great. All right, so I'm gonna manually zoom out again and go to the next step of how to make your flowers, improve your flowers. And that's gonna be petal movement. And what I mean by that is, like, looking here at this flower, they're pretty much straight lines, right? You're going straight and it's perfectly curved. There are no divots here, there are no, you know, bends, so it's not moving, right? So we want petal movement, petals that look like they're dancing. And the way you do that is by making your petals out of C and S curves, right? They don't have to be, you know, that big or whatever. So I'm gonna draw a few, sorry, I lost my train of thought. A few example petals, right? So just kind of making it move like that. So you can see C waves going this way, S waves, right? Making it look more irregular, less perfect as compared to this. So maybe here's another one. All right, little divots here. Daisy petals usually, you know, have a pretty pronounced divot at the top, right? So none of these look perfect. I'm gonna zoom in so you can see them a little bit better, right? But they are made up of that C and S waves. They look imperfect, but they actually look like they're moving, like you would actually see bends and folds in this. which takes us to the next step of how to bring your petals to the next level, and that is folds. So I'm going to redraw some of these petals, maybe this one here. And oh, it wasn't perfect, but you kind of get the idea. So the way you add folds is actually really easy, and that is just by drawing a line along the edge. So for this one, we would do it maybe here, right? So now you have a fold in this petal. For this one, I feel like it makes more sense to maybe put it right here. And there you go, you have a fold in your petal. And the fourth step is the details. A lot of times when we do the details, you know, we might get in the rut of making them maybe all the same, right? That just kind of looks like you wouldn't really see that in the wild, is what I'm trying to say. So the best way to take your petals to that next level is to add variety in the length of the lines, making some longer and making sure that they curve with the petal. So we're gonna kind of make it seem like this petal, here I'm gonna do this part with pencil so you can see a little bit better. This petal is curving that way, right? So that's how we want the petals to go, right? So we have different lengths. We'll put some here, right? And then I'm going to go ahead and erase. I have no idea where my eraser went. Oh, here it is. Sorry about that. All right, so we can see the difference here between these two petals, where this one actually looks like there's more movement, that you can actually see how it's folding, whereas this one just kind of looks flat. And the last one is overlap. I'm gonna take this paper off now. And what I mean by overlap is that here there is no overlap in the petals. They all come out of the center with the same amount of space. And so imagine here, we're just gonna do a simple center here, right? And then you have your petal, and sometimes petals are behind, right? They're not all coming off at the same time. You might have a few that are on the top, but then the rest might be behind. So adding that overlap makes it look more realistic. All right, so final step, taking it from this, using everything we talked about here and putting it over here. And so I'm going to go ahead and choose this center one because I think that's really, really pretty. And so once again, you do the finger-like tendrils, making in different directions, allowing them to overlap so that there is that movement and that kind of dancing feeling to this center. Like I said, it doesn't have to be perfect. Don't stress about it. I'm gonna zoom in a little bit more so you guys can see what I'm doing. All right, the next thing I'm gonna do is draw the petals. And just like our original flower here, I will add 5 petals, and we'll start here. And this is gonna be from the top view. So I'm gonna do multiple steps at once. I'm gonna be doing the overlap and the petal movement. So I always like to start with what I like to call a guide petal. So the one whose shape I can see all the way. So because sometimes they overlap, you only see part of the shape because the rest is behind this petal. So I like to start with 1 or sometimes even 2 petals whose shape I can see completely and use those as a guide. I think I might end up with 6 petals with the way I did it, but that's okay. Okay, so already this flower looks a lot more alive and a lot more realistic than the other one. So now we're going to add folds, and you don't have to add a fold to every single petal. You don't want to overdo it to the point where it doesn't look realistic. So just add a few folds. Probably just add these 3 and leave it be. Actually, just kidding, I'll add 1 more right here. And if you ever wonder where to add folds, if you're drawing from a reference photo, you'll see where the folds are there. And also, you know, you can try it out with pencil first if you're unsure. All right, and then the last step is the details, right? Making sure that there are different lengths, kind of they're there. Making sure you add some where the petals are folding. There we go. And just so you guys know, I'm not using a reference photo for this flower. This is just a flower doodle that we came up together on the spot. And so you could use references and you will see a lot of these different elements that we talked about in there. You'll see that petal movement, you'll see beautiful centers, you'll see folds, you'll see natural kind of color veins and flowers that show you exactly where to put the details, and you'll see this overlap. So using these 5 different steps you'll bring your flowers looking more stagnant, from stagnant and childlike to a lot more detailed and beautiful. So I hope you found this helpful, and if you did, make sure to comment and let me know. Subscribe to our channel, to my channel, sorry, for more floral content. Thank you.